Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Daniel and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking you guys on a tour of my garden. It really is as simple as that. I have a pretty good mix of plants in containers, and then I also have some raised garden beds that I've planted things in as well. It's not perfect. There are some parts of my garden that are more aesthetically pleasing than others, but I'd love to just show you some things that I thought have worked out really well so far, some things that I'm excited about, and some things I've been a little bit disappointed in. So I'm not going to hold you guys any longer. I'd love to show you my garden, and maybe we'll hear some beautiful nature sounds and see some aesthetically pleasing scenery along the way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and I'll show you guys my garden. First beds that I'll love to show you are over here by my tumbling compost bin. These are what I consider the least exciting beds, but they're still pretty fun beds. These are some raised garden beds that I just made out of either scrap wood or wood that I got from Lowe's. And let's go ahead and see what's happening in this garden bed right here. So in this garden bed, the only thing that is currently growing are tomato plants. I actually did a video about how these tomato plants grow themselves. I have not planted anything in this garden, but I'm simply letting these plants grow where I like them. So you can see this one is more in the middle. So I'll more likely keep this tomato plant, and when some grow in less desirable areas, I simply, like this grass right here, just pull it out of my garden, and then I'll take care of the ones that I like and get rid of the ones that I don't like. So this one is kind of spaced out, you know, maybe have one here, and I'm really just kind of taking it as it goes. These tomato plants have been growing like crazy. They grow back every year, and I'm always excited. This is my kind of random chaos mystery garden bed that kind of grows itself, and I just pay attention to it and help it along. Right up here, I have my zucchini plant. Currently, I only have one singular zucchini plant, but as you can see, I have a zucchini growing. And it looks like some of these, looks like some of these are going to be growing some zucchinis as well. So I'm very, very excited. Last year I got so many zucchini that we pretty much didn't know what to do with all of them. And it looks like this zucchini plant is going to be fairly healthy as well. Also, I have these volunteers right here. I'm not 100% sure if they're zucchini or cucumbers, but I'm going to let them grow a little bit and probably repot them and just kind of find out what they are and if I have use for them in my garden. Then, this is a real fun experiment. This is my very first time growing potatoes. But all I did was take some potatoes in my cupboard that were getting, the eyes of the potatoes were starting to grow little sprouts out of them, and I chopped them up. I had maybe about 16, maybe 12 plants, something like that. And I planted them and just started watering it. I did no special preparation, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 10 potato plants. So that is something that I am super excited about. And these are just my 2 raised garden beds. They don't get the most amount of sunshine, but they do get a pretty decent amount, especially towards the end of the day because the sun is setting over there on the horizon. So now let's go over to some of my more fun container plants. So this is one of my random projects. I literally took just a packet of wildflower seeds and threw them on top of some dirt. All of my leaves that I raked last year I put in this container, and then I threw a bag of dirt on top and then threw these flowers in it. Some of them seem like they're growing pretty well, but they've been pretty slow, and I fear that maybe I grew them too close together, but hopefully I get a whole bunch of flowers out of this bad boy. I have another one right here, and then I have this whole tray up here, a whole tray of fun right here. So let's talk about some of my favorite things that I'm growing. Right here is a cherry tree that I grew from seed, a lemon tree that I grew from seed, a cherry tree that I grew from seed, a lemon tree that I grew from seed, a cutie tree that I grew from seed. When growing trees from seed, it kind of is a gamble on how well that they will grow and if you'll actually get fruit, but I'm playing the game and hopefully it'll be fun. These are some cucumber plants that have not been doing very great inside of this container. I've started them from seed in a little seed tray, and then I put them inside this little container, and hopefully at the very least they'll make good backup cucumber plants in case some of my other plants die or get eaten. Then I have, I believe this is a jalapeno, a serrano, and a serrano, or maybe these are chilies. I can't remember. These are all pepper plants. My pepper plant growing strategy is to grow as many random pepper plants as possible, and then whichever ones win are the ones that I eat. I generally end up, as you'll see, with a lot of pepper plants. These are some, I believe, butterfly flowers. I'm not exactly sure what kind of flower that is, but these are some butterfly flowers that I'm hoping to grow for my garden. And these are all, that is all of my container plants up here. Let's go down and look at another fun container plant that I have growing. This is all lemon balm. I don't know if I grew them way too close together, but I was hoping that this whole thing would plume up as a little lemon balm bush, and I'm just growing them, paying attention to them, and we'll see what happens with that. This sad little fellow is a mango tree. He was doing a lot better in the past, and I'm really not sure what's going on, so please send your thoughts and prayers for this little guy. And if you know what I'm doing wrong with this mango tree, feel free to put it down in the comments below. Otherwise, hopefully, it looks like there's some new growth there at the top. Maybe my daughter ripped all the leaves off, who knows. But this is, in fact, a mango tree. Planted that from seed. Here is a fun first for the year. This is lemongrass. It's really not very fragrant right now, but if you rub the leaves, you can definitely tell that it's lemongrass. It has a similar smell to lemon balm, and my hopes with this is to get a bunch of pungent plants to keep mosquitoes away, but we'll see how that goes. This is my blueberry bush. I believe that it grew me maybe 6 blueberries last year, so I'm really just keeping this thing in a container until I move, and I'm excited to plant this bad boy in the ground and hopefully a lot more along with it. But this is my blueberry bush. If you want to put a blueberry bush in a container, this is the size container that I'm using, and it seems to be doing just fine, but I'm really not getting a whole bunch of blueberries. Over here, which I did a whole video on how these bad boys grew themselves, are some more tomato plants. This is probably my strongest tomato plant, the largest so far. Whenever I feel like it's ready, I'm going to throw this in the ground in that other raised garden bed. And I have a couple, this one looks pretty sad, and another tomato plant. As I've already said, my strategy is generally to grow as many as possible individually, and then as some die, I have backups. So that's what I'm doing right here. One of my favorite things that I'm growing right now are strawberry plants. And this 1, 2, 3 I bought from the store already grown. And then these are root starts. This is definitely the best, happiest, healthiest root start. What I'm doing right here is this is a runner that I'm trying to get to plant itself in the ground. I have another runner that I have planted right here. This is a root start that's very sad. And this is a random strawberry that I just stuck in the dirt to see if it'll actually grow like people say it will. So in between some of my garden beds are these plants right here, which are doing fantastic. And the story behind these bad boys are that some bird seed fell on the ground, and now I'm growing sunflower plants. So if you ever want to grow a sunflower plant, just get some bird seed mix and throw it on the ground, and you'll most likely have some sunflowers. And honestly, they're growing the fastest and look the healthiest out of almost anything that I'm growing. Over here, I have my really not taken care of pepper bed. I'm waiting to get some peppers that are ready to be planted. Although I do have this sad little guy over here that's probably just going to get completely replaced. But in containers, I have all of these seed starts that you can see. I tried to start peppers in trays, and it did not work well. That was completely my fault, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But because it did not go well, I ended up just putting them in here. And what I'll end up doing, especially with this 12-inch container, is this middle habanero plant, I'm just going to leave right there forever. And then these other habanero plants, as they get about 6 inches tall, I'll replant them. So this one will have its own container, and yes, you can grow a whole pepper plant in a container like this, and it'll do just fine and give you lots of peppers. I did it with my jalapeno plant last year, and it worked great. Peppers in containers work fairly well. Here's some more tomato plants. In the Navy, we call this shotgunning. You throw everything you can at it because you might fail once or twice, but I have backups. This will be another pepper garden. So I'll have 1, 2 pepper gardens right there. Here are some seed starts that have been wildly unsuccessful, except for that one habanero sprout right there. It was pretty much the soil that I used was really not meant for seed trays, and it really didn't absorb water very well. But now I have it outside and I'm spraying it with a hose, and they seem to be coming back to life. But that was pretty much a month that I wasted with starting seeds. Here's some more of these sunflower plants. And then this is one thing I'm very, very excited about. This is my cucumber garden with my little stick trellis. All of these sticks came from my butterfly bush that I cut down every winter. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is one variety. I think this is the Persian cucumber, and this is the national pickling cucumber. And I'm growing all of these to make pickles. And these are my backups. Like I told you, you can't go wrong with having backups, because if one of these got eaten by a bunny rabbit, then I have one of these, which are actually ahead of the game, to replace them with. This is my very interesting looking garlic garden. As you can see, they look very sad right now. Most likely I'm gonna have to pull these soon, but some of them have grown entire bulbs of garlic and some of them have not. This is my very first attempt at growing garlic, so I'm gonna try to give myself some grace. But I'll show you what I mean. You can see this really sad little fella. And I can pull the dirt back, and you can see that all I have is this tiny little bulb. I'm not a garlic growing expert, and I don't claim to be, so I'm not gonna tell you how to grow your garlic. But I do have some, like back here. Whenever I pull this back, you can see that I'm actually growing a real thing of garlic. I do know that you're not supposed to water these too much, and soil is a little wet, so I'm not sure if maybe that had something to do with it, but some of them seem to be all right and some of them seem to be pretty sad. So that is my garlic garden. Here is my wildly unsuccessful seed tray. If you're wondering why I have a cage around my seed sprouts, it's because I have a daughter who's 1.5 years old, and she will try to eat all the dirt inside of this seed tray. And then here's my little herb garden. I'm not a very skilled herb gardener, but I do have some dill. I have whatever the heck this is. Yes, I really did just grab random seeds, plant them in here and hope for the best. I guess this is chamomile. I did not know I was growing chamomile, but I guess I did. Here's some basil, or as they say in the Great British Baking Show, basil. This is some lemon balm, which has a very great fragrance. And then this is some lavender, which I'm pretty excited about watching this bad boy grow. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is everything that I'm growing this year. While my garden looks like absolute chaos right now, it's because it kind of is. Gardening with children can be difficult, but it is a fun, wild ride. My pepper plants are finally sprouting. My cucumber garden is all set up. I'm definitely gonna have tomatoes. My zucchini plant is growing crazily, and hopefully my potatoes turn out all right. I am really just doing everything by trial and error. I'm watching some useful YouTube videos here and there to figure out what I might be doing wrong in certain areas. But for me, gardening isn't just a science where I know everything that I'm doing. That's why I plant so many different things in so many varieties of the same kind, because I can see my pepper plants work great over here, but not over here. It worked great in a container, but not in a bed. Why did it work here and not here? This is me teaching myself how to garden with a little bit of help along the way. If you're looking to learn how to garden, my advice to you is to just start. Find some dirt somewhere, find some seeds, put the seeds in different areas. Ask yourself, why did this one sprout and this one didn't? Too much sun, not enough sun, too much water, not enough water. You can get 100 seeds for $2. So why not plant as many plants as you can in as many areas as you can, and trial and error, figure out what is working and what's not working. Gardening is a great therapy. No, it's not a replacement for actual therapy, but it's very calming, very enjoyable. And at the end of the day, I get to sit amongst the fruits of my labor. So that is everything I've shared with you today. I hope that I've inspired you a bit. Maybe you've learned something. Maybe you have a new idea for your own garden. I can't wait to see you guys next time, but until then, happy gardening.